There's a reason why some people remain serene, even when everything around them seems to fall apart. Chaos can ensue, insults can be launched, plans can fail one after another, and yet, these people stand firm, as if they were immune to the storms of life. What is the secret that they know and most do not? The truth is that many people live in a constant state of reaction. If someone crosses your path in traffic, anger appears at the same time. If a coworker makes an ironic comment, the whole day is lost. A strange look from a stranger already plants doubt. But what if it were possible to break free from this? What if nothing, no people, no events, no external forces, had the power to shake you anymore? Carl Jung believed that most people are prisoners of their own reactions. They feel like they're being hit by everything that happens, when in fact they're just reacting to something unresolved within themselves. The reality is that nothing can reach us if there is no vulnerable point in us. If someone calls you a fool and it hurts you, it is because there is a part of you that fears that this statement is true. If someone ignores you and it hurts, it's because there's a part of you that still craves validation from the outside. That's why two people can go through the same situation and react in completely different ways. What matters is never what happens, but how it echoes within you. Jung called this shadow work, a process of making what is unconscious conscious. Every irritation, frustration, or emotional trigger is not the enemy, but a message sent from within. Most run away from these signs, try to ignore them, or blame the world for feeling bad. However, those who truly awaken see something transformative. The outside world is nothing more than a reflection of what we carry inside. As soon as you understand this truth, something very powerful is unlocked, the ability to transform your reality from self-mastery. But here's the challenge, not everyone wants to hear that. It is easier to believe that the boss, the ex-partner, events, or even bad luck are responsible for the suffering. Admitting that you are the one who gives power to the one who hurts you takes courage. However, those who accept to stop blaming the world and start looking inward, access a new level of freedom. And the most surprising? When you stop reacting, you also stop being controlled. You no longer need to avoid toxic people, nor try to manipulate the course of situations. You simply become immune. This does not mean being cold or indifferent, but rather unattainable. People spend their lives trying to control what was never under their command. They want to be loved by everyone. They want life to follow their plans millimetrically. When things don't go as they expected, they suffer. They feel betrayed by existence, as if the universe had chosen them for a punishment. But there's only one thing in this world that's really under your control, the way you see what happens. Jung understood what many still ignore: the world is neither good nor bad. It simply is. What gives color to events is the filter through which you observe them. Think about it, two people face the same loss, a bankruptcy, a breakup. One of them surrenders to pain and destroys herself. The other finds a lesson, a chance to be reborn, an open door to something new. The difference? The lens through which they look. Jung once stated that, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it destiny. That is, as long as you don't become aware of the narratives you've created about yourself, others, and success, you'll continue to act on autopilot, believing that life just happens to you, when, in fact, everything happens through you. The more you try to control the world outside, the more power you give to it. If you need someone to respect you, they have power over you. If you need a situation to happen in a certain way, it overwhelms you. If you need life to be fair, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. But the moment you let go of that illusion of control, everything changes. Suddenly, you become free, free from the need for approval, free from the fear of failure, free from the weariness of trying to shape the world to your desires. Reflect, the truly unshakable people are not those who control everything around them, but rather those who dominate themselves. They remain calm in the midst of the storm, they do not allow themselves to be disturbed by chaos, they do not shrink from uncertainty. They know something that many have yet to discover, that control is just a mirage. And the moment we stop chasing after this illusion, we discover true strength. The paradox is this: when you no longer need things to go your way, they start to flow naturally. When you stop fearing the judgment of others, you become more confident. When he does not pursue success with desperation, he appears lightly. When you stop resisting life and start floating with it, everything starts to fall into place. And this is not just a pretty idea of philosophy, neuroscience confirms it. Research in psychology shows that the more we try to control something, whether it's a person, an outcome, or our own thoughts, the more resistance we create. That's why those who crave love the most end up pushing it away. Those who are afraid of failure sabotage themselves. Those who cling to control are actually the ones who feel most powerless. So, I ask you, are you reacting to life or are you dominating your perception? Because the moment you understand that nothing out there has power over you, you start playing a new game. Imagine the scene: you are walking quietly, absorbed in your own thoughts, when someone out of nowhere throws an offense at you. It may be that this person calls you useless, says that you will never succeed, or any other gratuitous insult. At that moment, what happens inside you? Most people would respond automatically. Some would retaliate aggressively, others would feel hurt and spend hours mulling over what happened. Emotions would take over before there was even time to think. The heart would race, anger would take shape, and the offense would echo repeatedly in the mind, fueling deep hurts. But what if, instead, absolutely nothing happened? No emotion aroused, no impulse to react, just the serenity of the consciousness that realizes, this has nothing to do with me. This is the wisdom that the Stoics, Zen masters, and Carl Jung himself deeply understood. Nothing that comes from outside has the power to disturb us unless we surrender that permission. Let's go deeper. Why do most people let themselves be affected so easily? The answer lies in identifying with an illusory version of themselves, a fragile self, shaped by the opinions of others, dependent on external validation, and conditioned by attachment to results. Therefore, when this I feels attacked, the reaction is intense. Offense is no longer just a word, it becomes a threat to the constructed identity. Jung was referring to the shadow self, that hidden part of the psyche where our fears, insecurities, and unhealed wounds are hidden. When someone provokes us emotionally, that person does not create the pain, he only reveals it. It's like touching a wound that was already there. If we were at peace with who we are, the provocation of a stranger would be harmless. It would be like shouting at a mountain, the echo returns, but the mountain remains motionless. The big question, then, is, why do you react? If someone calls you a failure, why does it hurt you? Maybe because, deep down, you're afraid it's true. If someone disrespects you, why does it consume you? Because perhaps there is a deep desire for recognition within you. If things get out of hand, why do you despair? Because he is too attached to the idealized result. The problem is never the world. The real obstacle is in the way you see yourself. True strength is not in silencing the world, pushing away criticism, or eliminating problems, it lies in building an unshakable mind. A mind that does not depend on the approval of others. A mind that does not fall apart in the face of adversity. A mind that understands that all control begins, and ends, in perception. This goes beyond philosophy, it is applied neuroscience. Studies show that reacting emotionally is a mental habit. The brain forms connections that reinforce these reactive patterns. The more you let the world dictate your emotional state, the more automatic this behavior becomes. But there's liberating news: it's possible to rewire your brain. Science has proven that with mindfulness, rethinking and gradual exposure to discomfort, we can train the brain to react with more serenity. Over time, offenses cease to have an impact, failures no longer define who you are, and uncertainty loses its power to paralyze you. At that point, you become untouchable. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. There is something curious about human nature: we think we are reacting to the world, but we are actually reacting to ourselves. When someone insults us, we feel as if a knife is going through the soul. But where is this pain, exactly? It is not in words. It is in the meaning we give to them. It's in the unhealed wounds we carry. It's in the stories we've been repeating internally for years. Carl Jung masterfully captured this: everything that bothers us in others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. It is a hard truth, which many avoid. But it is liberating. Nothing that comes from outside has power over you, unless you grant it. Think of a mirror. If your reflection in it frowns, you don't fight with the mirror. You understand that it just reflects what you're doing. And yet, when life reflects our emotions, when others arouse reactions in us, we act as if the mirror is to blame. We want the reflection to change, we demand that others change, instead of understanding that the external world is just a reflection of our internal world. Why do we give so much power to what is outside of us? Simple: by attachment. If your identity depends on what others think, you will be a prisoner of other people's approval. If it is tied to specific results, you will be a constant victim of the unpredictable. If everything depends on what is around you, you will always live at the mercy of circumstances. But what if you chose to quit that game? What if, instead of reacting, he started to observe? True detachment is not coldness, it is lucidity. It is understanding that you are not your emotions. You are the consciousness that observes them. Think of a storm: it roars, it flashes, it blows hard. But above it, the sky remains intact. You are that sky, not the storm. True strength, then, comes not from controlling the world, but from mastering how you interpret it. And here's the most powerful part: when you stop reacting to the world, you start shaping your reality. People notice this change. They feel that they can no longer manipulate you, they can no longer shake your peace. Because at that point, you have already mastered your energy. The question now is, how to access this state of unattainable presence. How to make serenity second nature. To access this state of unwavering presence, a real leap of consciousness is required. It means understanding, in a deep and radical way, that you never reacted to the facts themselves, you only reacted to the way your mind interpreted them. Reflect on this: two people can experience exactly the same situation, but come out of it with completely opposite emotions. Imagine someone bumping into you on the street. A person just moves on, without giving it importance. The other, however, gets angry, takes it personally, feeds negative thoughts for hours. The event was the same. The difference? The mental reading that each one made of him. Carl Jung constantly spoke of the shadow, that unconscious part that we all carry and that we reject or repress. There are hidden our pains, frustrations, insecurities and unhealed traumas. And it is precisely this forgotten part that determines, in many moments, how we react to life. If certain words affect you deeply, if certain people irritate you easily, it is because there are still unreconciled inner aspects. When something destabilizes us, it's not the world's fault, but a reflection of the parts of us we haven't yet faced. If someone manages to manipulate your emotions, it is because they have, symbolically, a key to something that you have not yet learned to take care of. The secret is not in eliminating emotions. It is not a matter of turning a stone. Rather, it's about acknowledging those emotions, understanding them, and taking hold of them over you. Don't run away from triggers, study them. Instead of blaming the other person for teasing you, ask, what part of me has been revealed now? Imagine a chessboard. Most live like the pieces, being moved to and fro by circumstance. But the one who conquers true emotional freedom is the one who becomes the player. And even more, those who observe the game from above, clearly, seeing each movement even before it happens. That is true detachment. It is not coldness, nor indifference. It's mastery. You don't ignore feelings, you understand them so deeply that they stop controlling you. You become a witness, not a prisoner of reactions. The mind ceases to be a leaf in the wind and becomes like a tree with deep roots. And the most fascinating thing happens at this point: when you stop reacting, the world starts to respond to you differently. people realize that something has changed. You no longer desperately seek validation, and so they start looking for it in you. You are no longer shaken by negativity, and it loses power over your life. You stop being a puppet and become the director of the show. It all starts with real-time self-awareness. At each moment, you have two options: react impulsively or observe with presence. The next time someone tries to tease you, take this moment as a chance. Before answering, take note. Feel the trigger come, but instead of acting, simply notice it. Like a scientist observing an experiment. No judgment. Out of curiosity. That is the real power. And yes, it takes practice. But the more you repeat this exercise, the stronger it becomes. It's like training a mental muscle. Over time, this ability becomes automatic. You stop fighting life, and you start flowing with it. It is at this point that you stop being led and start leading. He stops being a hostage of emotions and becomes a master of them. You understand that everything, absolutely everything, begins in the way you interpret what you experience. The most impressive? That changes everything. Your relationships improve, because you no longer react based on past wounds. Your projects flow, because you no longer sabotage yourself with the fear of failure. Your peace expands, because you are no longer at war with what is outside. The transformation begins when you decide to stop being just another piece in the game of life. When you choose to no longer react automatically. When you become the observer, the conductor, the creator of your own experience. The question now is no longer, why does the world affect me so much, but rather, what in me still allows this to happen? And the answer will always be within you. You are the sky, vast, calm, and unshakable, not the passing storm.